frantic and chaotic. So I appreciate everyone's input there. And at our next collaborative, we'll have a whole different topic to discuss in TIS. So as Diana mentioned, you get to hear from me for 2 agenda items. So I am going to share with you a little bit about Stress in Your Mood, which is one of the contract programs that I have the great pleasure of working with one of our providers on. So let me get my next screen situation happening here. Maybe, there we go. Okay, we can see, I gotta adjust this so I can see faces. I don't feel like I'm talking to myself. Okay. So I'm going to share with you about Stress in Your Mood, some of the kind of program background stuff, and then Daisy, who we heard from just a few moments ago, is going to share a little bit with you all about her experience as a Stress in Your Mood clinician, working directly with our students. You heard her say she's in between groups. So we're going to give Daisy a chance to kind of share a little bit about her work with us as well after I give you kind of all of that background stuff. So Stress in Your Mood is a cognitive behavioral therapy program for transitioned age youth, which is folks ages 16 to 25 throughout Riverside County. And this is one of our early intervention programs in our plan. So you hear us talk about prevention and early intervention. Early intervention programs, we have 2 of them, this one, and then one that works with our older adult population. So we're kind of a small pocket here of our PEI plan. Oh, come on now. There we go. So Stress in Your Mood, or SAYM, as we like to refer to it when we're writing things out, was a standalone program operating on its own until 2019, when we decided to combine it with another age focused program, peer-to-peer. And so we combined them together to have this large thing that we also call the TAE Resiliency Project. And Operation Safe House has been our provider for Stress in Your Mood since I looked back until it looks like 2011. So they've been with us for a really long time doing this great service throughout our county here. And when we release RFPs or requests for proposals for this again, hopefully very, very shortly, we're actually going to separate them back out again to have peer-to-peer and Stress in Your Mood be 2 separate contracts. And those are in the works to be released, hopefully any minute. We're waiting with bated breath. So kind of a little history of apart together and then apart once again. So you'll hear them referred to separately moving forward. As I mentioned, this is one of our 2 early intervention programs. So that means that participants are actual clients that receive a diagnosis from a therapist. So it's not a prevention program in that way. We are actually working with our TAE age clients to treat symptoms of depression. And that's our goal, is to reduce depressive symptoms in those TAE age folks age 16 to 25. And it is provided by master's level licensed eligible or licensed clinicians. And Stress in Your Mood has done so well throughout our county that last year, towards the end of the previous fiscal year, we actually decided to expand service across the county, doubling the contract for each region. So each region can now support 4 full-time therapists throughout their Western, Mid-County, and desert areas, where we're hoping that by the end of the fiscal year, they'll serve 140 folks in each region for a total of 420 people or individuals throughout the county. So if fully staffed, that is what the program would ideally serve through during the fiscal year. Typically, services are provided on high school campuses, but we do require that about 25% of client service happen with our what we call older TAE. So those that are 18 to 25, which are a little harder to kind of nail down into one place. In regards to our districts that we work with, we have really great partnership across the county with a number of our districts. So we work well with Riverside Unified, Jurupa, Alvord, Moreno Valley, Hemet, Lake Elsinore, San Jacinto, Banning, Palm Springs, and Desert Sands. So those are the districts that right now we have service happening in. But if you are in a school district that I didn't list, reach out to me and I'll get you connected to Safe House if this is a service you think that would be beneficial to your students. And our partnerships in the last couple of years with community colleges have actually really improved and been a great help in kind of reaching that older TAE age population. We had a student that was enrolled in Palo Verde College in Blythe, which was a huge success for the program, a really big win for us. As you know, Blythe is a really remote part of our county that doesn't have a ton of resources available to it. And so when we were able to enroll a student at Palo Verde, we were really excited that Blythe was able to participate in services with us in that way. And then, of course, we have really great partnership with Moreno Valley College, Norco, MSJC, and College of the Desert. Clients are able to receive 10 to 20 sessions, kind of depending on their need. So we do group, which is 10 to 12 sessions, and then students can also do, or participants can also do booster sessions up to 20 after that. And generally, when we're working at the high school level, they're provided in a group setting, and then more individually when we work with those kind of older college-aged folks, just because of schedules. And again, our college age or older TAE don't really have like one central spot where they tend to kind of congregate. And so those are things that we're always talking about and working on, is how can we improve networking or partnership with organizations or agencies that do serve kind of 18 to 25-year-olds. So another call out, that if you happen to have connection or work with or work for an organization that kind of is a central location or gathering spot for those age of participants, then we would love to get connected to you there too. So how do folks get enrolled in the program? So I'm talking about stress in your mood, but also talking about the fact that we work with depression. So kind of the name of the program is specifically named Stress in Your Mood, versus calling it something that specifically targets depression. And I know there's a lot of conversation in the world of mental health and mental illness that we remove stigma by calling things what they are. And yes, that is absolutely true. But we also are trying to make our program marketable and approachable to the target audience that we're looking to work with. And so we talk about stress because that seems to be something that's more identifiable for our folks that we're working with, that they're like, yeah, I'm really stressed out and I'm having a hard time in these other areas as a result. And so it makes it more approachable for our participants to be able to engage with the clinician in regards to screening. And then while they're in the program, we do talk about and treat depression and call it what it is, and talk about the symptoms and how those show up in those other areas of their lives, so they can still connect those dots and understand that, yes, I am showing symptoms of depression, but I'm also learning skills to manage my mood and to manage my stressors when they come up in those other areas, whether that's relationships, school, whatever that looks like. So we are really working to teach them skills in addition to just working on those depressive symptoms. So one of the key qualifiers for this program, one aside from being the age of 16 to 25, is that we're looking for folks that are having symptoms kind of early in their manifestation, that they haven't received a formal diagnosis of depression or a mood disorder more than 12 months ago. So we're not looking for someone who's kind of been in and out of therapy over the course of their relatively short life, but really more where these symptoms have kind of popped up in the last year or so, and they're starting to interfere with their ability to function well at school or at home or in their relationships. And so we are looking for those folks that have not received a formal diagnosis. So there is a process that happens where they get kind of cleared, quote unquote, to be able to participate in screening moving forward, so that we're also not getting their hopes up that they're going to be able to participate and then they can't. So we want to make sure that we're very clear with them from the beginning. And once they are cleared to screen, we do screen them for depression using the CESTI. They need to have a score of 16 or higher in order to qualify to participate. And that 20-question measure really just asks about symptoms of depression in the last 2 weeks. So we use this measure a handful of times in our work, at the beginning, in the middle, and then again at the end of their treatment. And then if they qualify based on those steps, they're the correct age, they haven't had a previous diagnosis more than a year ago, they score 16 or higher on the CESTI. There's a second measure that we use pre and post, and depending on their age, it will define which measure they get. So they either get a youth outcome questionnaire, which kind of just asks questions about their overall functioning in life and how they kind of feel that they're doing, or the Basis 24, which does similar types of questions just for those that are 18 or over. And again, those are also completed at post. So we are doing measures with them throughout their time in the program. There's a couple of things that we've noticed, though, in regards to measures in particular, because we like to talk about data here in PEI. We're very data-driven. We noticed that we do post measures at really stressful times for our participants, especially our high school kids. We're doing post measures at the end of semesters when they've got finals going on, or graduation, or thinking about moving away to college or getting a job. All of these big stressful things are happening for them. So it's been interesting to kind of see how those manifest in their post measures, even though we can see from the clinician's perspective that they've made great progress in the group. When they fill out that paper on the day they think they just failed their physics final, it's really interesting to see how that translates into numbers. So we do also ask for the clinician's perspective in regards to progress, and not just solely base everything on that CESTI score. So that's an important component. We've also noticed that post-COVID, I guess if we can call it that, quote unquote, we are seeing that when students are entering into the program, their SESTI score at the beginning, their depressive symptoms are significantly higher than we noticed pre-COVID. So we're still seeing some of those lingering mental health effects around our young people in particular in regards to stress and depression. As our students are entering into the program, their SESTI scores are higher. So that's just kind of a trend that we've noticed in Stress and Your Mood, and we've also talked about in a couple of the other school-based programs that I worked with. So kind of just a point of interest and information there. Okay, so what has service looked like for us in the last little while? So obviously in fiscal year 2021, we had a good little while of in-person service, and then we had to stop that. Or that was 1920. I don't even know what fiscal year we're in anymore. Sorry, 2021 was our virtual school year. How can I forget that? And that, of course, significantly impacted service delivery, as we saw across pretty much every PEI program. And there was a significant staff turnover that happened at Operation Safe House. Also not uncommon when we're working with folks that employ pre-licensed therapists. That is just kind of the name of the game. Then we went back to in-person school in fiscal year 21-22, which was incredibly helpful, but staffing challenges persisted. There was a lot of issues in the schools, a lot kind of getting their bearings again to being back on campus full time. And a lot of behavioral health organizations were experiencing similar staffing challenges. And during that fiscal year, we admitted 231 participants countywide, or 230, sorry. And then last fiscal year, we had 277 clients enroll throughout the county. And so far this fiscal year, as of this morning, we have 148 clients enrolled. And the program, again, if it's fully staffed, will serve 420 students or people this year. But we're about 3/4 staffed. So we have 2 openings in the desert and 1 opening in Mid-County. So we're not fully staffed. We're pretty close to about where we should be with regards to enrollments based on staffing at this point, which is awesome. And as I mentioned, we expanded those services at the end of last fiscal year to start this year. 2 of our, well, it was 2 regions fully staffed. We just received I'm not part of Operation Safe House. Operation Safe House recently received a resignation from a Stress and Your Mood clinician. So we're down 1 there. Western region is fully staffed. Mid-County has 3 clinicians and Desert has 2. And they are continuing to actively recruit for those vacancies, which is great. They're a great partner of ours and they work hard to make sure that they can get staff in place as quickly as possible. So that's the background stuff. And I'll make sure that if there's questions that I can answer those, but I want to be mindful of Daisy and having another group coming up fairly soon. So I want to turn it over to Daisy Vidrio, who's one of our clinicians from Mid-County, as I mentioned, and give her some opportunity to share her experiences and highlights in working with this program. And Daisy kind of has found a unique population that she works with in one of our continuation schools down in Lake Elsinore, which is pretty cool.
Yes.
Daisy.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Andrea. So I'm actually there right now. And I don't know, I found this position very rewarding. And I get to help the age group in different ways. So I'm here at the campus. I also do virtual. I do work with some college students and from locations like California Family Life Center. And I saw familiar faces. Hi, Marianne. And so I do a lot of virtual. So I've been able to kind of create different modalities on how to service students, whether there's virtual or in person. So I was kind of gonna tell you a little bit about it, but I'd rather show you, since I'm here at the campus, to kind of show you a little bit of what the items that I've created and that I use with students. But before I do that, I do kind of want to reiterate what Andrea said. It is very rewarding seeing kind of clients some of them never had therapy before. They don't know what it's like to have a therapist. So this gives them a great opportunity to become part of this group that they're not sure what it is, and kind of explain as they go. And at the end, I get a lot of feedback on how happy they were that they were able to join. That it has helped them a lot. So I also see the differences in numbers. Actually, today I did give them SESTI's questionnaire, and I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's right here. You guys can't see it. Oh, it's the blur. Let me take the blur background off. Where is it? Here we go. Okay, here you go. So here's the SESTI that Andrea was talking about. I actually had them take it today at the beginning. And then I went on to groups. Today in particular, I'm in the middle section. So I'm really going over how to process and how to identify negative thoughts and how to create positive counter thoughts. So if, I'm just going to go ahead and show you. I was in line. So this is the board right here. So I don't know if you guys can see that. I usually put the attendance, the agenda there, and you could hear the bell. Sorry about that. I'm actually at a campus right now. And I review with them. I go over what you see on the right hand side. I don't know if it's backwards, if you guys can see it that well, but I do go over I guess a method. It's called the ABCDE method on how to create, first of all, identify negative thoughts and how to create positive counter thoughts to them. So that is one way I do it when I'm in person with them. Another way, I do PowerPoints with them. Just could be a little bit more interactive when students are not focused enough, or also I use these whenever I do virtual sessions with them as well. So is it okay that I share my screen? Yeah, okay. I'm gonna go ahead and share. There we go. Okay, so I don't know if you all could see that. Can you see that right now? Yeah, okay, perfect. Let me go ahead and move the PowerPoint. Hold on. I can't move it. Everything's like on top of it. Okay, here we go. Let me move your beautiful faces from my PowerPoint. Sorry about that. I cannot click. Oh, there we go. Got it. So let me kind of show you in a slideshow. I use clips a lot. So slideshow, there you go. So this was the power of positive thinking. So instead of having a board, when I do virtual, I try to make it as interactive as possible. I also go over the agenda, highs and lows, roses and thorns. In Stress in Your Mood, we go over a cognitive triangle, right? A personality triangle. This is kind of something to the similar effect. I always do review with them, and I use clips a lot to get them interactive. Hold on. So I get their focus, and it also shows a little bit of, so this is basically what I have on the board, but this is in PowerPoint formation. And I use little clips like that, not everything, but certain clips to kind of exemplify how to create positive counter thoughts. And then I also give them, and I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing. Actually, no, I'm gonna continue. I want to show you something else. I go over certain things. Did you guys see that I switched my screen? Are you able to see it? Yeah. Do you see cognitive distortions right now on the screen? Okay, just making sure. So I also use different things. I use the forms that come with the program, but sometimes I use other things as well. So for example, worksheets on how to identify negative examples, right? And I go over them. I'll see a lot of aha faces whenever I print this out and I give it to them. They have a folder with them. If I'm in person or virtual, I sometimes email these to them as well, so they can have even after group is done. And I see a lot of aha faces whenever they're looking through these, and they're like, oh yeah, I can relate to this, and this is a good talking piece. It's like, okay, what kind of negative this really helps them identify what kind of negative thoughts are coming up. And then we work from there on how to create positive counter thoughts. This is actually one of the ones that I've been talking about a lot today with my groups and individual sessions, because I also have individual sessions. And let's see, how do I promote? I usually give flyers out to different locations. This is one of the flyers that I created also as well, with the things that we kind of help with. As Andrea kind of listed already, I use QR codes, and they email or call me as well. And I actually give this flyer to the students, so if they refer their friends as well, I'm hoping that they refer their friends, and then they get to me as well. I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing, but I guess that's just a little bit of what I do and how I bring it to life and how I contact providers and students themselves. But does anybody have questions for me or want to know anything else about what I do, or about how I bring the program to life? Or what is it about? Nope. All right. Andrea,
Daisy,
is there anything else that you wanted me to kind of
Yeah,
share?
I was wondering if maybe you could share an example, of course, being mindful of confidentiality around a student that you saw really benefit from the program and kind of some of the changes that you noticed in them or things that they shared with you that
Yes.
were beneficial or kind of one of those kind of things.
Yes. Okay. Sorry, the bell again. I can remember one of the first groups I ever did 2 years ago. This is my third year being a stress and mood clinician. And one of the first years, it was one of the most rewarding ones that I can think of. It was a group of about 6 students, and I was ready with my folders and the sign-ins. Oh, and the best thing, I bring snacks. I was gonna turn over the computer, but I have snacks and the sign-in sheet right next door. But I remember this particular student was a senior already, continuation high school. This particular student was dealing with suicide ideation, and they were self-harming as well. And I remember this was around this topic as well, how to deal with negative thoughts. And one of the things that we teach is how to stop these negative thoughts. So when she was sharing how she would get negative thoughts when she would wash the dishes. Every time they would wash the dishes, it was like really negative thoughts about self and how they should just grab, this knife at this time and they should cut themselves. So at that particular time, they had not harmed themselves, but it had happened in the past and they were dealing with severe. Towards the end of the group, I remember that client, and I look at the SESTI scores, I saw negative thoughts kind of like go down. And after having the survey and having that last session where I go over and I recap things that we learned and what we've, so they can remind themselves of things that they've improved. So they see that they've been improving as well. This particular student said, thank you very, very much, because I never knew how to deal with these negative thoughts and I don't have them anymore. Now I can wash the dishes and it doesn't affect me anymore. I've learned that I am powerful and that I'm able to manage this, that this doesn't manage me, I manage those thoughts. Eventually that student signed up, I believe, to the military. And later on throughout because they didn't graduate, they were a senior, but I still came the next quarter, they were student of the month. And I just felt so warm and especially with that student that actually expressed the gratitude. I was so happy that she did, because then I would have never known the power of the program. And I don't give myself the credit, I give the credit to the program because it really does work.
Thanks, Daisy. And I'll tell you, just like I tell any other person who's doing an evidence-based practice, you are part of the intervention. So it is in credit to you and the work that you do and all of your colleagues do with the students. My favorite thing to do when I do part of my work in regards to reviewing data is to read the comments that participants write in regards to all of the programs. And Stress in Your Mood always has really great comments about how, one, they had a lot of fun, but they also really learned meaningful and useful skills. They recognize that other kids or people their age are dealing with things like this, so it helped them to feel less alone, which we already know adolescence and early adulthood can be a really isolating time, even though they're all generally going through kind of similar things. We tend to close in a lot of them. And since this program often takes a lot of kids that self-refer, we kind of find the kids that maybe would fall through the cracks otherwise if we only worked with referrals from counselors or students, teachers, or parents even. So we get those kids that are really looking for something to help them because they're starting to recognize that they're not feeling good or they're looking for connection. And so we get the opportunity to provide that as kind of like an added bonus in the program, aside from really great straightforward CBT to help their depressive symptoms decrease. So thanks, Daisy. Please give yourself more credit because you are a part of the intervention. As a side note. I think that's it.
I'm gonna go ahead and
yeah, you have
somebody
no,
else
I was
have
gonna say I think you have groups, so
yeah, I do. All right, bye everybody. Thank
thanks,
you.
Daisy. So are there questions I can answer for folks before turning it over to, I'm sure, Maisha, to talk about Suicide Prevention Coalition? No? Okay.
Well, thank you, Andrea, for that great presentation, and Daisy too. You have to tell her thanks for us. And that was really amazing. Love to hear about that. And next, I'm going to turn the floor over to Maisha Bobo, who is our suicide prevention coordinator. She's going to talk about some of the recent activities related to the coalition and other suicide prevention activities.
Yes, thank you so much, Diana. I am going to pull up my PowerPoint if you all give me just a moment. Okay, are you able to see my screen? I see head nods. Thank you all so much. So as Diana mentioned, I am a staff development officer with PEI, and I also have the privilege of serving as our suicide prevention coordinator for the Riverside County Suicide Prevention Coalition. It is a mouthful. We often call it the SPC for short, so you might hear me refer to the coalition either just as the coalition or SPC. So today I will be briefly sharing about some of the activities that the SPC has either sponsored, organized, or developed over the past few months. We've been very busy in fall, so I'm excited to share with you all of the amazing things we've been doing. As you all know, every September we recognize Suicide Prevention Month here in Riverside County in an effort to decrease stigma and increase awareness about suicide prevention. And then each year, Take Action for Mental Health, formerly known as Each Mind Matters, releases toolkits that I'll show you in just a second that coincide with Suicide Prevention Week. So this year, Suicide Prevention Week was from September 10th to the 16th, with World Suicide Prevention Day being on September 10th. And the theme for this year's Suicide Prevention Month was Share Hope Together. And this theme reflects the importance, value, and power of the act of sharing. So by sharing hope with one another and throughout our communities, we can support and help connect individuals to resources, allowing us to take action for suicide prevention together. So that was really our focus. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I don't know if you're moving slides forward. We're still seeing the title slide.
Oh, sorry. There you go. Thank you. So this is the toolkit. So we received toolkits this year, both the virtually online. You can go to their website and access some of the information. And then we also received a few of these journal outreach mini kits. And so these are mental health thrival kits for students that was created by Directing Change. And then for educators, there was also a landing page that had mental health resources that could be used to support students, as well as information about submitting films, music, or artwork to Directing Change program. And then we also had our general outreach toolkits, both in English and in Spanish. And so these included Know the Signs poster and display, some really cool bilingual pull-out pins. And so it had like a little pull and it has resources. And on one side was in English, the other side was in Spanish. We also received tons of brochures, wristbands, green ribbons, Know the Signs tip cards. So we received, you see one of them here, the Know the Signs orange one. We also had one for finding the words, reaching out to resources, as well as one that had like breathing tips and coping skills on it. We also received some decals. So in addition to the resources that I've named, they also offered banners that were available in multiple languages. They have posters also available in different languages and also representing different demographics. They had a bingo card and instructions game that you could just download and print. And it kind of teaches how to know the signs as well as about some of our national resources. They gave us resource cards and brochures in different languages. The languages were English, Spanish, Tagalog, Vietnamese, Chinese, Russian, Korean, Lao, and Punjabi. Those are just to name a few. There are other languages available on the website, suicideispreventable.org as well. And then they also provided pre-written Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter posts with graphics and videos. A selection of social media posts were also provided in Spanish. So they really gave you kind of a social media toolkit that you could just use however you chose to do so, and much, much more. So I've named a whole bunch of things, and there's even more that was available on their website. And they do this every single year. So kind of to transition to talking about trainings. So we offer trainings year round, but in the month of September, we really want to make sure that we're offering as many of our trainings as we possibly can to provide that increased awareness to our community. And so this year in September, we trained 200 participants in the following models that you see here on the screen: Adult Mental Health First Aid, Mental Health 101, which is one of our virtual trainings, Building Resiliency and Understanding Trauma, another virtual training, and Know the Signs, Self-Care and Wellness, our last 2 virtual trainings, and then Safe Talk and Assist. So we were very busy with trainings in September. So we also used our social media platform here at Behavioral Health, both Facebook and Instagram, to bring awareness to Suicide Prevention Month. So here on the far left, we have an Instagram post that was on September 1st, so our first day of Suicide Prevention Month, just announcing that September is Suicide Prevention Month. And then in the middle, we had a Facebook post, once again, that was highlighting Suicide Prevention Month and also encouraging the use of the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline 988 for crisis support. And then on the right, we have a post in Spanish that refutes the stereotype that depression is a normal part of aging and encourages community members to seek support for themselves or a loved one that is experiencing depression or thoughts of suicide. So several posts were shared each week, encouraging community members to learn more, to seek support, and to end stigma around mental illness and suicide. So this is just a few of the posts that were shared, but there were several more each week to encourage people to really learn more about suicide prevention and get involved. I'm excited to announce that this year was our first time serving as the regional sponsor for the Inland Empire's Out of the Darkness Walks. These walks are hosted annually by the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, or AFSP. So on September 30th, we hosted the first Riverside Out of the Darkness Walk at Fairmount Park. We also supported the Inland Empire Walk in Rancho Cucamonga on October 21st, as well as the last one in the IE, which was the Coachella Valley Walk in Palm Desert on October 28th. The coalition hosted an outreach table at each event to spread awareness about our current efforts. Through our outreach, 25 individuals expressed interest in facilitating survivors for suicide loss groups here in our county. So we're in the process of getting them connected and those sorts of things, but that was a really exciting outcome for us. And so this is just one example of the amazing connections that were made at these walks. And so I do have a few statistics for you. According to this year's walk coordinator, Jay Jester, we had approximately 1,270 participants register for all 3 of the walks. All 3 events were well attended, having about the same turnout. Coachella Valley actually exceeded their fundraising goal this year, while Riverside and the Inland Empire fell a little short of meeting their goals. There's always next year. So overall, all 3 events were a huge success and well received by the community. And the coalition does look forward to continuing our partnership with our local AFSP chapter here in the Inland Empire. And so here are some of the photos, just to give you an idea of what it was like. So you see here one of the outreach tables. You see that the coalition's logo here on the right side as one of the sponsors. And then you get to see lots of the folks that were attending some of the events, as well as our team here on the bottom right. And we had shirts created, so anyone who signed up for the coalition's team got a free shirt. The shirt said that you'll never walk alone. And that was a really cool incentive that we were able to give folks, and people seem to really enjoy that. All right, so now on to Send Silence packing. So this year marked the return of Send Silence packing exhibits on our local college campuses since the pandemic began back in 2020. So we hadn't been doing Send Silence packing, and actually in October, we funded 2 exhibits at UCR and at Mount San Jacinto College. So the Send Silence Packing Traveling exhibit is an immersive experience utilizing mixed mediums to guide the visitor through the mental health journey of several American youth and young adults in an effort to increase awareness and reduce stigma associated with mental health concerns and suicide. So it's a full-day exhibit that includes personal stories from individuals that have been impacted by suicides, an interactive wall display, as well as local and national resources to connect visitors to. All personal stories have been revised to meet safe messaging best practices when sharing suicide attempts or losses. Participants are encouraged to read and or watch videos of these personal stories to end the silence around mental illness and suicide. The exhibit also encourages visitors to connect with local and national support resources for themselves as well as others they know that might be in need. So after attending, the majority of visitors tell 3 or more people about what they learned, and many reach out to a friend in need or seek their own support services as a result of the information that they received. So we look forward to continuing our partnership with Active Mind for years to come so that more Riverside County campuses can experience this exhibit. I also want to note that the exhibit changed recently. So they are calling this their 2.0. So some of you may be familiar with their model before, where they had like 1,000 backpacks and they were like kind of on the ground and like a labyrinth sort of thing. And now you see that it's changed. This is the Hope Wall, and they have people come up and write messages of hope. And then here is the outreach area and the stories of loss. They've broken it into different categories. I think there's stories of loss and stories of hope. So you can go and read those as well. And then not pictured here, they kind of have like a tent area where folks can go in and listen to the recordings of people telling those stories. So it's expanded in quite some great ways, and we look forward to continuing to offer that to our Riverside County campuses. All righty. And so we ended it all with our conference on October 27th or 26th, excuse me. We had our second annual conference. And this is a picture from our conference that was hosted at Agua Caliente, Rancho Mirage. So here I have a few highlights from this year's conference. Our theme was Bridging the Gap Between Spirituality and Suicide Prevention. We had over 350 participants in attendance, which is an increase from last year. Last year, we had about 220, 230. We had one keynote presentation that focused on the essentials of suicide prevention in faith communities. And I'll show you a picture of our keynote and tell you a little bit more about her in a moment. We also hosted 2 panels with 11 faith leaders from various faith communities to discuss the role that faith communities can play in stigma reduction and suicide prevention efforts. And then this year was also the first time that we invited vendors to attend. So we had over 20 vendor or coalition subcommittee tables represented at the conference. So as I mentioned previously, we started our day with a keynote presentation, and that was from Dr. Karen Mason, titled The Essentials of Suicide Prevention in Faith Communities. And then we also were pleased to have Kim Sarawatari, the director of our UHS Public Health, provide remarks about the importance of this topic. We are grateful for the continued support that our coalition receives from the Public Health Department. So we're very grateful to both of these ladies for their time at the conference. So following Dr. Mason's incredible keynote presentation, Reverend Benita Ramsey, who is our cultural community liaison for the Interfaith and Spirituality Subcommittee, served as the moderator for our 2 faith leader panels. So as I mentioned earlier, the first panel focused on stigma reduction in faith communities, and we were honored to have Rabbi David Lazar, and I'm naming them from left to right, Baljit Tour, Christian Bogg, Pastor Jane Voigt, Gennaro Wahid, and Sister Chili Okoko. All of these individuals provided their faith community's perspective on mental health and ways that faith communities can play an active role in reducing stigma around mental illness and suicide. So then for our second panel, we focused specifically on addressing suicide prevention efforts in faith communities, and we were pleased to have Elder Joshua Williams to the far left, Missionary Trinette Donnell, Pastor Tim Edmondson, Reverend Dr. Wendy Childress, and Josefina Sierra. And so both of our panels were extremely well received by our participants, our attendees, and I'll get into the evaluations in just a little bit, but this is a look at what our faith panels consisted of. And so our faith leader panels, as I said earlier, received an overwhelmingly positive response from conference attendees. And here is just some of the feedback that we received. So someone said it was profound, honest, and uplifting. They enjoyed the diversity on both the panels and the invaluable messages that were shared. There were so many nuggets of wisdom. And someone shared that they were very enlightened to learn that religious spiritual leaders are helping lead the way in new beliefs when it comes to mental health and suicide. I wish I could have shared all of the amazing things that were shared in the evaluations about the panels, but these are just a few of the remarks that we received from folks about the panels. So at the conclusion of our event, we requested feedback from attendees regarding their overall satisfaction with the event, our keynote presenter, our panelists, and several other topics. Many participants were unable to complete the evaluation prior to leaving the event. Therefore, unfortunately, our response rate was lower than expected. Here I have highlighted some of the data we received from our evaluation. So I believe we ended up having about 80 or so folks complete the evaluation. And for those who did complete the evaluation, 100% said that they would recommend the SPC conference to a friend. So we love to hear that. That's amazing. Nearly 99%, so very close to 100%, thought valuable resources were shared by both the panelists, by our keynote, as well as the vendors that were present. And then our keynote, Dr. Mason, received 96.1%, either an excellent or good rating. And both of our panels received over 97% either excellent or good rating. So we love to hear how people are receiving these things that the coalition is producing, and glad to hear that people enjoy the content that was shared at this year's conference. Oh, we did this one, sorry. Okay. So on behalf of myself and the coalition's co-chairs, Diana Gutierrez and Rebecca Antillon, we'd like to extend a heartfelt thank you to the amazing individuals that lead our 8 subcommittees. The subcommittees are really where the real work happens, and the wonderful individuals that are pictured here ensure that our subcommittees are working towards the goals that are outlined in our strategic plan, and they help us to make Riverside County a suicide-safer community. We recently held an appreciation luncheon for our subcommittee leaders. I guess that was actually our last event for the coalition. And we hosted that to thank them for their dedication and commitment to this important work. And we know that lunch and a small token of our appreciation could never truly express the full extent of our gratitude for all that they do. So we're very, very thankful to our SPC leadership team. And that about wraps it up for me. Thank you all for your time and attention. If you would like to learn more about the Riverside County Suicide Prevention Coalition and our current efforts, we invite you to visit our website at rivcospc.org, or you can also email us at pei@ruhealth.org. Any questions that you all might have?
Awesome job, Maisha. As people are collecting their thoughts, you can feel free to unmute or put it in the chat if you have a question. And I would just want to add that the conference was recorded and is going to be put up on the website at any moment. When it's there, you'll be able to watch it if you weren't able to make it on the day with us. You may have received an email that included the links. So if you didn't get to go, please watch it. Feel free to share it with anyone else. And as Maisha said, the website has additional information related to all things Suicide Prevention Coalition. So who has a question for Maisha? I think you were just so thorough and clear there. Everything was well understood. So, all right, cool. She'll be here if something comes up and you have a question, whether it's related to her presentation or to the coalition overall. Feel free to ask those questions. So at this point, I'm going to transition us into turning the floor to all of you. So this is where we get to hear from you and what's happening in your world. So I know we have a lot of PEI contract providers with us today. So for those of you who are PEI contract providers, any announcements or upcoming groups or Anything that you want to share about with the rest of this group?
Got a question.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the first time I've attended this, and I do have
Mhm.
something to share, but I'm not sure if I'm a PI contract provider, so I wait.
Yes, you
Or
are a PEI contract
I
provider.
am. Okay.
Tell
Okay.
us
Thank
what
you.
program you're with so everybody knows who you are.
Okay. Yeah, my name is Bill Clamone, and I'm from California Family Life Center, and I'm the site coordinator for Strengthening Families program. For those of you that know, it's an evidence-based program. It's worldwide. It's been going on for decades, highly, highly regarded. And we're going to be starting sessions for California Life Center starting next year. So we're going to have January and March sessions. Basically, for those that don't know, this is a program for any family. This is anybody that wants any kind of advice or skill sets, knowledge. It's free of charge. We're also going to have free dinner. We're going to have free childcare from 0 to 5. One of the things that I really enjoy I'm excited about this program, because one of the things that I really like is, and because I've been doing with families for a minute, and this program in one session, we're going to have 14 sessions, one per week. It has a parent component, a child component, and a family component. So like each component, each group session after dinner, they break into the specific groups. And then at the end, they can practice what they learned as a family. And I can't tell you how much I'm thinking that's going to be so effective. So like I said before, I didn't put my contact information, but if you guys are interested, we're currently working on a refining of our flyer right now. But when I get that circulated, then it will be available. Like I said, 14 sessions. We're gonna have incentives like prizes and raffles. And as I said, we're going to deal with things like boundary setting, communication issues, substance abuse issues, how to deal with peer pressure, just about anything that you can basically name that will help families operate better. So like I said, if anybody's interested, I'm gonna go ahead and put my contact information on the chat. Excuse me, like I said, this is my first time, so I'm trying to get used to how you guys do your protocol.
Yeah.
But I thank you very much for the time to be able to speak about it, because like I said, to me, this is going to be great.
Yeah, thank you, Bill. Yes, you did that perfectly well. So where does California Family Life have a location for that January group? So folks know where they can send people.
Yeah, it's going to be in Hemet, 930 North State Street. And basically, we're going to have two sites, because we're going to have one English speaking and one Spanish speaking. We're looking at Valverde School District in Paris for the Spanish speakers, because they actually had this program a year ago and they loved it, but they wanted it in Spanish.
Mhm.
So we're going to offer it in those two modalities. So anyway,
Yeah, terrific. And because California Family Life is our newest Strengthening Families provider. So they're serving the Mid-County region. Thank you, Bill. Maria, do you have a question for Bill?
Yes, I do. Thank you. So Bill, I know I'm interested in having information regarding the Spanish session. I do have a family that I'm working with, um, and they would highly, highly benefit from this. So I know that you mentioned that it's free, correct? They don't need no
correct.
Medi-Cal or insurance.
No. The only thing is, yes, there will be some kind of a screening to make sure that it's a safe environment for all, but that is something that we can take care of on an individual basis. And as I said, anybody who's interested, please have them contact me, because I can definitely give more details, and we'll be, looking forward to it, because what we're basically doing right now is we're building an interest list. And because like I said, for both sessions, either January or March. So if you want to get in contact with me, and we can speak about that more for the individual need.
One
Yeah.
more question. Do they have to be from that area, or this family lives in Riverside?
They
Okay.
need to be from Hemet or from the Mid-County region, but we do have a Western region provider.
Okay.
So the other caveat to this is that they have to have at least one child in their family that's between the ages of 6 and 11. That's one of the qualifying
okay.
criteria for the program.
Mhm.
And so if you go to the PEI website, will one of my staff drop that link in the chat, please? We do have contact information for each of our programs. SFP is among them. And so if your families are in the Riverside area, the contact information will be there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And the other thing I'd like to add to that is, yes, the program is from 6 to 11, but if there are older siblings, we try to find a positive role so that they would be able to be involved in the organization. Like, for example, like they may be able to help with the childcare or something like that. So in any case, because the whole thing is to bring families together in a positive environment and have everybody involved.
Yes. Tracy, question? Tracy, are you ready for your question, or you're muted?
No, I think I hit the wrong thing. I did.
Okay. All right, Este.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for a wonderful presentations and wonderful information, and thank you for having me here today. I'd like to share about we have a second annual Pearl Festival in Mid-County. This is a PEI Unity Celebration. It's going to be this Sunday at from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And the location will be Shavera Middle School in Marietta. And I was trying to type it in and then it got a little disconnected there, but I just put it in the website that you could go into, and I'll send the flyer to maybe
Send it to
Miriam,
Miriam.
right? Send to Miriam, yeah, and then maybe she could pass it out to everybody. So this is open to all family. Last year in pouring rain, we had over 500 people came out. So it's going to be a wonderful celebration. Then we're going to have a performance from Daiko Drum and fashion, like API cultural fashion show, and local the taekwondo demonstrations, and we have a Chinese opera singer coming out, and also the Chinese instrument Euro presentation will be there too. And so we're going to have so many different food trucks going to be out there, and the vendors, so people can do early Christmas shopping. And of course, there's an admission for $5 for 12 and older. 12 and younger, they get in free. And it's going to be a wonderful opportunity for a family to come out and celebrate. So please promote this event for us. Thank you.
Sounds fun. Okay, Tracy, I still see a hand raised. Do you have something now? Or that's still up there?
I don't. I am trying to lower it, and it keeps acting again.
There you go. You got
There we
it.
go. Thanks.
Other PEI provider announcements, upcoming activities and events.
Diana, this is Mary Rinko with the Riverside County Office on Aging.
Oh, you have your hand
So
up.
maybe it's my hand that's up. I don't know.
Yeah, it says Tracy on your screen.
Oh, that's weird. Oh, Tracy had sent me a link. I am really sorry about that, Tracy. And all of the rest of you. It is actually Mary, who is on today along with Tracy. Anyway, I wanted to inform those who are finding themselves in that baby boomer generation, or perhaps serving families that are perhaps caregiving for older adults, and maybe even children and older adults in that sandwich generation. We are hosting another new series of Care Pathways, which is an 11 to 12 week series of classes for family caregivers of older adults. And it is funded through PEI. And we're going to be starting again in January throughout the county. So we have quite a number of different classes that are going on. We prefer that instead of listing all the classes, that persons who are interested just give us a call, and and let us know that they're interested in attending classes. The classes are all free. We provide respite care in case the person they're caring for cannot be left home alone. For instance, if they have some sort of cognitive issues or physical disabilities that doesn't allow them to be home alone. We do offer the classes in person and online, and in English and in Spanish, and during the day and at night. So I just want to get that out to you, and I will send the flyer to Miriam as well if she doesn't mind getting that out to everybody.
Terrific. Thanks, Mary.
Sure, I will put my hand down now, sorry.
You're good. All right, I'm at PEI providers. You still can chime in either in the chat or unmute, but I'm also going to open the floor to anyone else who's in the room, other community providers, our school partners, anybody that has an upcoming activity or event announcement that you'd like to make. No events coming up. Oh, here's Sage. Please share.
Hi, good afternoon. So very similar to Mary Rinko's shout out, Inland Caregiver Resource Center does host the Pearls and the Thrive programs, which focuses on depression and anxiety with our older adult populations for all of Riverside County. But we also do provide case management services for those that are caregivers, just like as Mary was saying, providing care for individuals with dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, or an identified disability that occurred after the age of 18. We will actually be having a virtual conference that we are now only opening to our clients, but to all the communities, including the professional communities, as we will be discussing how to interact with those that have an altered reality, especially in the realms of dementia. So I'll be providing the flyer in the chat. If I don't have enough time, then I'll definitely email it to Miriam so she can also include that in the email blast.
Terrific. Thanks. Dakota.
Yeah, thank you, Diana. This Saturday, the 2nd of December, is International Day of Persons with Disabilities. So we are, I'm with the WADE Alliance, that's the Wellness and Disability Equity Alliance. And we are sponsoring an event at the Living Desert in Palm Desert. And so Palm Desert's Living Desert has done a great job of becoming accessible. They provide non-stimulating environments for neurodivergent people who need to be set aside. They have a lot of accommodations. So we are sponsoring it. Everybody normally has to pay, except if you are assisting a person with a disability. You're able to get in free. And that's this Saturday only. I will send the flyer. And I will, if I have time, I'll put it in the chat right now. Thank you.
Terrific. Thanks, Dakota. Other announcements, comments, questions, open forum. With this busy holiday season, we've got no other announcements. I'm shocked. Going once, going twice. All right. Well, I want to thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to be with us and learn a little bit more about prevention and early intervention programs. We are going to do this again in another quarter or so. I believe we put together the 2024 calendar. Miriam will attach it with the notes from this meeting along with all those flyers that you send to her so that you'll see the upcoming meeting dates. Save the spots in your calendar, and typically, as you all are aware, you'll get an invitation from me via email with your unique registration link, and you'll get that about 1 month prior to each meeting. So save the dates, and then you'll get the email from me to actually register. So we hope to see you at the next one, which, Miriam, when is the very next one scheduled?
The next one would be on March 27th.
All right, so mark your calendar for that. It's always at 12 o'clock. Maria, you have one more question.
Yes, today is my day. Um, although, just for my clarification, I know that you sent out the invites, even though we're here, we still need to RSVP.
Yeah, because
I mean, register.
Yeah, it's a unique registration each time, so we know who's coming
Okay,
to that meeting.
all right. Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah. Dr. Franco.
Hi, sorry, I was trying to figure out how to raise my hand on my phone. So, okay, I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Dr. Erin Franco. I'm the new Executive Director of Operation Safe House. And I look forward to working with each and every one of you guys. And if ever you guys want to collaborate on anything, or you guys need some information, or just partner on anything, definitely feel free to reach out to me and send me an email, and we will definitely touch base with you.
Terrific. Yes, nice
Okay.
to see you. I know we're going to be meeting next week, so it's a good preview, and we'll talk more next week.
Definitely nice to meet you as well.
Yeah,
See you
thanks for
next
the
week.
introduction. All right, you guys, have an absolutely fabulous holiday season. Remember what you're going to work on to take care of your resiliency and put that into your day-to-day routine as best you can. And if you have any questions related to prevention and early intervention, to the Suicide Prevention Coalition, or anything else that we might help you with, please feel free to reach out to myself or anyone on my team, or email us at pei@ruhealth.org. Everybody have a terrific afternoon, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.